Hi everyone, welcome along. We'll just give it a few more minutes. It is 7:30, but a few more minutes so people can come on in and be here tonight. Okay, well, we'll get started. Hi everyone. I'm sure you all know who I am by now. I'm Lizzie, Chief Executive of New Zealand Pony Club. Thanks for coming along. As I just said, tonight will be recorded and we will be putting it on our website under the tab that's communication hubs. Can someone just let me know that my screen is, you can see a blue screen? Is it sharing?
Yes.
Fantastic, thank you. And Lorraine is in here, so Lorraine is going to just be monitoring if there's any questions that come through the chat. When formatting this presentation tonight, if you put your questions in through the Google form or you emailed me, they are at the end if I haven't covered them. But if there's any clarification that we need to go along, please let me know. And hopefully this will be online tomorrow with support documents alongside. So welcome, as I said, and we'll have another Living with the Constitution in a couple of weeks, and it will be based on the next lot of member questions. Okay. So what we'll cover tonight is we'll go through the club committee structure and what it is now in the new constitution, who can be on the committee, nominations and voting, the AGM timeline and the process, the differences of how it changes at regions, and all of your questions and answers. I think altogether it's potentially something like 20 slides. So hopefully in there we'll cover everything that you want. As I said, just pop your hand up if you've got a question, or pop it in the chat, or just interrupt us as we're going along. Because I don't actually have everyone's emails, that's why it's going on the website. Okay, so let's start it off. Basically, the biggest change in the new constitution is the committee structure. So the committee structure has a minimum required. So the minimum that you need to have on your committee is 5, and that's clause 6.2. So a lot of you in the past may have struggled to get a committee, and one of our success criteria was to have full committees. So this is the minimum you need. You must have a president, a secretary, and a treasurer, and that is as per the Incorporated Societies Act of 2022, and 2 other people that you elect. That would mean that your quorum at a committee meeting is 3. So in the past, if you struggled to get a quorum, you used to email me and ask for it to be from 7 till 5. Now, if you know that you potentially have trouble getting committee members to committee meetings, I would suggest that you could go with the minimum committee of 5, and a quorum would be 3. So the best practice right now is that you must have a president, you must have a secretary, and you must have a treasurer. And as per the Incorporated Societies Act, which we must follow in our constitution, those 3 people cannot hold another named committee position. So I cannot be the secretary / treasurer. I cannot be the president / treasurer. I could be the president, and if it wasn't on the committee, the health and safety officer, or I could be the secretary and the event coordinator, as long as those positions weren't part of the general committee. So you could have general committee, say two people there, or you could name them. So you can actually just say, we're just going to keep them unnamed and call them committee, or you have the ability to go, we're actually going to call these positions the head coach. We're going to call these people the grazing managers. We actually liked the structure of having a DC, and we'll get to that in a minute. We're going to call one of these named positions a DC. So that is how it sits as the minimum right at this point. But if you liked your old structure, you can keep it, because as we just said, that was the minimum that you had to have. So right now, actually, you have to have a president. That's not actually a flexible part. So if you desired, so I should change that around actually, if desired, you could have a district commissioner. If desired, you could have an assistant district commissioner. You must have a secretary, you must have a treasurer, you could have a chief coach, and you could have all of those other committee members. So you can have as big a committee as you want, because it's still valid. So if it worked well for your club, you can continue with that as your elected committee. But if you are going minimum and you are not having a DC role, and I apologise, we haven't yet updated all of the general regulations, the membership regulations, the certificate regulations, the code of conduct, and the positions. They're a work in progress, and trust me, they are being done. If you don't have a DC role, and as per our last NZPCA, well, our first NZPCA Connect, for now, you can pop that role into the president. So the DC role, we see it being popped into the president position. So until we update the general regulations, so the DC can sign off that members have done their rallies, that they have, with the head coach, that they are acceptable to go for teams or be doing certificates as such. The head coach doesn't need to be a committee role, but if you decide it's to being a committee role, then that's there on the committee. The head coach needs to continue to sign off the responsibility alongside your president/DC. So the only constitutional roles are those president, secretary, and treasurer. All the other roles are operational and appointed by the committee. The profile roles, as I said, they are all being updated. Now, one of the big things of why we did this is we are aware that in a lot of places around the country, there was difficulty getting a head coach. And a head coach, as it was in the past constitution, had to sit on the committee. If there was a head coach, that meant that that person had to be a member of that club or branch, and therefore could only actually be the head coach of one place. So instead of being able to be the head coach at branch A, B, C, D, like some head coaches and clubs wanted because they couldn't find anyone, they couldn't do that. So now, if you are having a head coach that is shared, they would not be they might sit on one committee, it could be the head coach there, and then on the other branches, they would not be committee positions. Lorraine, did I see a question pop in?
Yes, Anne Williams is asking, can I confirm that if you pay your head coach, they are a subcontractor and can't be on the committee?
That is correct.
You could have them report into the committee but not be on it.
That's exactly right. So anyone who is being paid for a role, and at the area forum, there was a big discussion of that, and hopefully any of the area, the regional, now they were area then, the regional delegates could support this. But basically, if you're being paid for anything more than true and reasonable costs, e.g. travel, or someone else can jump in here who was there, then they shouldn't be on the committee. That is true. But we can add that as a
What about
clarification point.
honorarium?
No, same thing.
Okay.
So if you have a president that coaches, ooh, that's a tricky one. So anyone on a committee shouldn't be being paid. So it would have to be you'd have to be aiming it as in this is their transportation or something like that. This is part of the Incorporated Societies Act. So I can find out and clarify more for you on that. I do actually have a big document on it, but it's not in here. And sorry, no one popped the question in, so I didn't come prepared for it. Was there another one, Lorraine, that popped in? I just saw it pop up.
Anne Williams just said, so if we have a president that coaches and is paid for their coaching time, that's okay?
No. Potentially not. Would have to look at it. It's like they can't be paid for their coaching. It's about real costs. So the definition of that is what's true and reasonable, e.g. transportation, costs
Cup of tea, coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, so tea and coffee, but not actually paid for that role, because then they are being they're contracting to that club, and therefore they've got a conflict of interest.
Yeah. No, she says
Okay.
she understands.
Perfect. That's it. I'll have to put some more in there.
Can they attend committee meetings but not vote?
Committee meetings, and that coming up a little bit later. Committee meetings are only for committee, as per the latest Incorporated Societies Act.
So you can't be an
could.
observer?
So they could put a report in and report to it, but under the Incorporated Societies Act, committee meetings are stated that they're for the committee only. I know that in our last constitution it said that public could be invited, and be observers as per like a school board. But I talked about this today with Todd, and it says in the Incorporated Society Act that they're only open for the committee. Okay. So who can be on the committee? And there's two differences here. Under the Incorporated Societies Act of Section 47, so that sets all of the legal floor for what can happen within constitutions. An officer must be 16 years of age. So we've got two layers here. We've got the layer 2, the club constitution, and we've got clause 6, disqualification, and basically it states that 16 years of age is the minimum set by the Incorporated Society Act for someone to be on a committee. So yes, you could have a 16-year-old voted in and be on your committee, but you cannot have an employee or a contractor to the club. And previously that was removed under the constitutional bylaws. But at the at the regional level, a delegate must be 18 years of age. So if you're a delegate for your club at your regional level, they must be 18 years of age, and they must be a youth, in the youth category, a guardian member of a youth or an adult member, or a life member. And this is a condition that the National Constitution places onto the regions, but it doesn't flow down to the club committee. So you can see there that in the club committee we're following the Incorporated Societies Act, and in the regional committee you're following the National Constitution. So the big question that we are getting at the moment of who can nominate, so this is nominating at the club level. So who can nominate? So I'll put it out here, who can be on a committee. On a committee can be any of your members. Any of your members can be on your committee, but who can nominate. So the people that can nominate are your youth members 18 to 25, your parent guardians, and your life members. So they are the ones who can nominate. Now this came into effect on the 1st of April nationally. So on the 1st of April nationally, this came into effect. So if you did your AGM after the 1st of April and you didn't have nominations from a youth 18 plus, parent, guardian or life member, your members could say to you, well, actually, our AGM wasn't constitutional and your AGM could be rescinded and have to be held again if someone really wanted to do that and go, okay, but one of the big questions there would be, would the outcome have been any different? Lorraine.
We have another couple of questions, one from the Horn family. If we have already had our AGM for our club and have coaches on the committee, do we need to remove them?
Well, it's not constitutional. So that could be that you could decide, okay, that's not a constitutional committee. You could, I'll come back to you on that one. But really, it's not a constitutional committee. So yes, they shouldn't be on the committee because they're ineligible to be on the committee. So yes.
And the next one is parent guardians of those under 18, not 18 plus.
Yes, so the parent guardian is the parent guardian of those under 18. Sorry if I didn't make that clear. Yes, it's only if they're paid. If they're paid to coach, then they can't be on the committee. So anyone who is paid in their role cannot be on the committee. So there's no limit on how many nominations a person could do. So if I'm a youth 18 to 25, I wish, or I'm a parent guardian of someone 18 and under, I also wish, or a life member, I could nominate basically 10 people for any positions and second it. So looking at our country at the moment, got a good handle on all of our clubs out there. I think our smallest club out there, which has got a large adult membership, looking at them, they had 2 life members, one 18 to 25 and 2 parents of under 18. So those 5 people can nominate as many people, and second, they can nominate people that don't have children, but that want those previous people that don't have children on the committee, those previous wonderful adults that many of you are out here, they can nominate and second, and they are the ones that vote at the AGM. So that is how that works. Each nomination must be moved by 1 eligible member, second by 1 eligible member, and received by the advertised deadline. And you can't cap nominations retroactively. So you need to, before you start, go, okay, in our committee, we're going to have 5 people. Not after the fact go, oh, well, we got 22 people wanted to be on it and we only want 5. You have to actually decide what you want before you're calling for nominations, and all valid nominations that are received must be accepted. Going back to Lorraine.
Right, we have 2 similar questions. The first is, if we've called for nominations and have not received any.
I'm coming to that.
Okay. The other one's pretty similar, I think.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. That's coming up on the slide coming up. So
and
I hope, yep.
There's one more, sorry, it's just come in too. But whoever gets nominated gets notified prior and confirm if they want the position. Yes, prior to voting. Yeah,
you must confirm. You can't be surprised. You actually have to agree to any nomination and say, yeah, I accept that nomination. So if I've got more nominations than positions, I need to confirm the number of positions at the AGM. I need to accept all my valid nominations received. I need to run an election. This is not optional. And if I've got more than I need, it needs to be a secret ballot. and the highest votes getters fill those available positions. And if there is a tied vote, you hold a further vote between the tied candidates. The president no longer has a casting vote. So sometimes you might, if you're sitting there and you are in motion in your committee meeting and you're not getting anywhere, it might be, let's put this on hold and come back. Obviously, you need some more time to think it over or mull it over. Gone is the day of, I'm the president and I'm in the really tough position and I get the casting vote. So that's part of the Incorporated Societies Act. Every committee member on the committee has the equal weight of being on the committee. Yes,
We have
Lorraine.
another question, sorry.
That's
So
good.
adult members who don't have any children that are members, can they vote at an AGM?
An adult member with no children, can they vote in the AGM? No. They can be elected onto the committee. And once they are on the committee, they have absolutely all the say on the committee. But the only ones that are voting at the AGM are the youth members 18 to 25, the parents and guardians under 25, and I'll make that slide there a little bit clearer where it says under 18, and life members. They are the only ones that are voting at the AGM or an SGM. But once I'm on a committee, I have a full say and I get to make decisions in that committee meeting just like everyone else. It's just to ensure that the purpose of Pony Club remains with Pony Club. And that was a big discussion as we were going through all the meetings earlier. In particular, there's no cap anymore. You might remember that there was a cap that it used to be that you had a minimum of, you had to have 15 members, of which 8 were adult, inferring that you must have 7 youth members. So this is just the difference there. Okay, hopefully I'll get to those other questions really soon. So with your AGM, this is your AGM timeline and process. So 6 weeks before the AGM, you need to set the date and call for your nominations. So you would have already decided what your committee is going to look like. You'll decide the AGM date, you advise the membership of all of those positions being elected, how many, and the nomination deadline. And 6.6 of the Constitution says that all committee positions are vacated. All positions are for a 1-year term of office, and 6.9 also says that they'll be vacated at the end of the relevant AGM. So if I come onto a committee, I have to step down. I'm stepping down at the end of that AGM. I can re-stand, but I have to be re-nominated and then re-seconded and then elected. But every position is up for re-election. Lorraine.
When can you appoint life members? Is it at an AGM?
Can we hold that one and come back to life members? I'll just finish this one. So the nominations, they close, all nominations 4 weeks before the AGM. All nominations are received, and then we confirm if an election is needed, and we inform the members of the candidate. 14 days before, the notice of the AGM is sent out. That's the actual agenda, the proposed motions, and the candidate list to members. And it's minimum of 14 days in the club constitution. 5 days before the AGM, the final agenda with all items are sent, and no new items can be voted on unless by special resolution. Geraldine. Oh, you're muted, sorry.
So you stated there, and it is written there, all nominations received, confirm if election is needed, and you did emphasise the word if. However, just prior, you stated that it is one term and every single position has to be revoted. So I wish to have that clarified, please.
So if I've got one person for a president,
yep,
and one nomination for a president, that is not an election for that position.
So where you stated prior that it is for 1 year and everybody has to be voted, that is incorrect then.
No, because if you don't get a nomination, there's no one goes into that position.
Yeah, but if you get only one, are you stating you do not need an election for that position?
I'll have to clarify that in the Constitution because that's what's written in the Constitution.
Okay.
But there's no more. If there's only one, if there's one person that is elected for is nominated for that position, they are that position. Is my understanding from the Incorporated Societies Act. So it's not a yes no vote. It's like I was elected and nominated. I was seconded and nominated. I've got into that position. So the day of the AGM, I'll just jump to the AGM date. The AGM is held. The election is conducted, and it can be on for those positions that need to have an election. It can be online. The AGM can be online. The AGM could be hybrid, so a mix, or it could be in person. The quorum is 50% of those eligible voters, and those eligible voters, once again, the youth 18 to 25, the parents of the under 18s, and the life members. So if I've only got 5, then the quorum there would be 3. I might have a bigger meeting than that because hopefully I'd have all those other people that have been elected for positions, but my quorum is 50% of those eligible voters. The president chairs. The elections, it says show of hands. I need to take that out. It's election by a secret ballot. And that's electronic voting if possible. But there is possible, but there is no proxy. So sorry, I will just delete where it says show of hands. Because if there's more than one person, it's secret ballot. And then at your first committee meeting after the AGM, you can appoint your contact people, fill any vacant positions as casual positions, and we'll go up to that in a minute. Confirm the roles, look at your banking signatories, and account reviewers, etc. Was there any questions with that page, Lorraine?
Yes, there is a few. Am I not on mute?
Nope.
That's right. I wasn't sure. I couldn't see myself. Okay, so we've got so each role within the committee is vacant and re-elected each AGM by one of those groups that you
Yes.
just mentioned.
Yes, confirm.
And if only one nomination, then the Constitution says we don't need a vote.
That's
If
what my
more than
understanding
one?
is. Yes.
Yep, we need a vote.
No, you don't. No, you don't need a vote.
Oh, if there's more than one.
If there's more than one, you need a vote.
Yes. Previously, we did the nominations during the AGM. Can we continue doing this? I think it's related to the ones above.
No, because part of the Incorporated Societies Act, all nominations must be received prior. There are no nominations from the floor.
And is the quorum 50% of eligible voters in total, or eligible voters who are present at the AGM?
Eligible voters in total.
Yes. Is there any reason why you can't do the banking signatories, nominate person, etc. under other business in the AGM?
You certainly can, but you don't have to as part of the Incorporated Society, and that's on the next slide.
Oh, very good. And what would be the preferred number of people on a committee, including the officers?
We've stated that the minimum is 5, so you have to decide what works for you and that you can get a quorum to, because it's for your committee quorum. Your general committee quorum is 50%. So if you went and got a committee of 16, because that works for you, then every meeting you must have 8. But if you know that you haven't got 16 people, spread the love around. Why not? Why not just get as many people as you can? But if you can't, if you're a small group, 5, 6, up to you. What works for you? You guys actually need to have that discussion. You have the ability in this to decide what you want to do. Remembering with the quorum of the eligible voters that they can be online. they can be in person, they can be a mix. So they don't all have to go to such and such's house or the local hall. And also they can have the election. If they're not there, then the election is going to be for them electronic, like we do at our AGMs. We have electronic voting that closes off. So I'm not going to be able to be in person at the meeting, but I'm eligible to vote. I'm going to send my vote to Lorraine, and she's my neutral scrutineer prior to the meeting.
Yeah, so we do need 50% of the eligible voters at the AGM.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's your quorum.
Does that answer your question, Catherine?
You can't use proxy. There is no proxy voting. So
No,
I can't
what we
give.
did, sorry, I was just going to say what we did was that we put it out to all of our eligible members to vote, and they did do that. So we got over 50% voting, but we didn't necessarily get 50% at the AGM, but they did vote. So what happens there?
Next time you get 50% in person.
Yeah.
Wow,
So, for instance, we had a
that's a
hybrid
lot of
meeting.
people.
Well, it depends. Like all of you have got different. All of you have got different numbers and membership. So it might be for you a lot of people, but for someone else it might be 3. So whatever you do on a proportionate number of a quorum, it's going to be different. So what was your quorum at in the last constitution? If you were a club of 90, what was your quorum then? Bigger than a quorum that was 10.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Just got Denise asking, if using a secret ballot, then surely you cannot, oops, I've just lost it, cannot have voting online, as those online votes would be secret.
Well, not secret ballot. Ballot is called a secret ballot. Like, so you just need a scrutineer that is someone. Well, when you can do it secret ballot, because I've done secret ballots here at Pony Club, and I have not collected the name of the link of the email address or the name of the person who's voted. You can set up Google Forms or Microsoft Forms where I'll send you the link. I have no idea who you are, and it comes in and it votes. So yes, that is still secret ballot. So you can collect without email addresses. So who can vote at the club AGM? Here we go again. You've got your youth members 18 plus, so 18 to 25, the parent guardians of sorry, that needs to so the 18, not the 18 plus, sorry, just a couple of errors that we've picked up during the day. So it's the parents or guardians of riders under 18. So that's better. And your life members, so your life members that you've got in your club. So your youth members under 18, they cannot attend and speak, but they can attend and speak, but they cannot vote at the general meeting. You've got your adult members, your non-guardians of they can speak and attend but not vote, and you've got your casual and horse master members. They have got the limited participant rights, but they can't vote at the AGM. Well, your casual members can't vote. So also remembering that you've got 1 vote per eligible member. Electronic voting is permitted, and there is no casting vote by the president.
You're probably coming to this. Yes, it looks like you are probably coming to this. Is the process the same at club level and regional?
For
Jill, I presume you're talking about voting at AGMs?
no, so it's completely different at a regional level, because your regional level, you have your club delegates. So you have your club delegates who are the ones who have been determined will go to the regional level, and they exercise the club's votes, and that is proportionate to the youth members. So if I've got if I've got 20 youth members in my club, as a club delegate, I vote, and my club gets 2 votes 2 votes because I've got 20 youth members. So it was proportionate, and that's set out in the national constitution. So the club delegates are decided by the club. They must be members. They must be 18 years of age, and they don't have to be, they can be adults without youth there. So the clubs can
more the time frame, Lizzie.
Oh, the time frame would be the same, I think.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, the time frame would be
No,
the
that's all
same.
good.
Yeah, yeah. But actually, in your regional meeting, no, because you've got your delegates. So your delegates are your committee.
Yep. So calling for is more to do with like calling for the nominations and positions and things like that. But I'm picking you're going to get to that.
No, I haven't actually got a regional calling for regional positions in here. The question, that's the first time it's come up.
We've also got a question about grandparents. We have a grandparent and a parent who are both adult members.
So the parent of the under 18 would be the one who has the proportionate to vote, because the grandparent is the parent of the adult.
And as it's the first committee meeting for clubs that the regional delegates are selected, is it at the first committee meeting that the regional delegates are selected?
First committee meeting, or you could put it as part of your business at your AGM. That's coming up on one of the future screens as well.
Okay. And when we are talking voting, we are talking about voting for the officers and the committee members, aren't we? Or is this whenever something needs voting on?
Any motions at an AGM, anything at an AGM, being voting, setting the fees, motions, policies and procedures, it is only the youth members 18 plus, the parents and guardians of the parent or guardian of that under 18 or the life member. So going back to the scenario of that rider before who had a grandparent and a parent, if that person didn't have a parent, but they do, and it was the grandparent was the official guardian, that guardian would have the voting rights. But you can only have one person. But if I'm a mum and dad, so mum and dad, and it's coming up on the next slide, mum and dad are both members, but they've got one child, they only get to vote, one of them gets to vote. But if they've got 2 children or 3 children, that second person gets to vote for the other amount of children. But you don't get 3 votes because you've got 3 children, or 4 votes because you've got 4 children. So we talked about those casual vacancies. So after the AGM, and this is a question that got sent in prior, so thank you to all those people that filled in the form and sent in the questions. So if you've got casual vacancies under the AGM because no one stood for those positions and no one got voted in, so you've got a casual vacancy, so the position's left unfilled after the AGM, so it's treated as a casual vacancy under the Constitution. So the committee can decide to fill that vacancy, and they may appoint a person of their choice to fill that vacancy. This does not require a general meeting, but the casual vacancies hold a term is from that point up to the next AGM, or when the position goes back to an election, and it's often that it goes to an election. So a casual vacancy is a nice short-term snippet there, like someone after the fact goes, oh, we don't have a treasurer, can you come in and take on that role until we can find one? And you all know, you end up saying, yeah, I'll take it on for 6 weeks, and you're still there 6 years later. But best practice says you call for expressions of interest, you advertise the vacancy to members, you invite for nominations, and the committee votes to appoint at a committee meeting, but keeping a record. The committee must appoint or reappoint a contact person at its first meeting, but it could be your AGM, after the AGM, and notify the Register of Incorporated Societies, where you need to upload your yearly financials.
We've got a number of questions.
Brilliant.
So somebody asked previously, and I think you've answered this already. Previously, we did the nominations during the AGM. Can we continue doing this?
No.
The grandparent is on the committee as the maintenance manager. So does that mean he can't vote?
Once he's on the committee, he has a vote. So once you're on the committee, it doesn't matter what membership category you're in, you get to vote on the committee. So I'm currently a parent of a pony club member at Lorraine's Pony Club. I can't vote because that person's 18 to 25, but I could be voted on to the position, and once I'm in there, I get a vote. But as her parent, I don't get to nominate other people, and I don't get a say at the AGM at all, which would be really hard. You just have to sit there quiet. So once I'm on the committee, I get an absolute say in that committee, in any decisions. As long as I'm not being paid for my maintenance managing, though.
Now, the president doesn't have a casting vote now, so
No.
can they just vote like anybody else?
They just vote like anyone else.
And at an AGM, who runs the first part before the president is appointed or voted on?
The current president. So your position, you hand over at the end of the AGM. So you don't get halfway to the AGM and go, I'm the president until voting, and then I'm changing the new president. It's at the end of the AGM that the positions cease and the new people come in. So I might be the president right the way up to the AGM, but I've stood down at that next committee meeting. It's the new person takes that role.
Thank you. That's all our questions.
Excellent. Perfect. I love this. So can a club still have an executive subcommittee? Absolutely. So if you like having your executive committee, you can still have one. The constitutions don't have that in them, but it doesn't mean that you can't have it. So the committee has a broad power to manage the club's affairs and can delegate functions to a subcommittee. So actually appointing an executive subcommittee at an AGM or a committee meeting is within the committee's powers. The full committee, though, still retains the collective responsibility. So the exec subcommittee acts with delegated authority only. So I think it's a really important thing. They can make those quick decisions, but then they need to go back to the next meeting and it be actually put through the minutes in the committee and have a resolution. So there we say, it says that they should be ratified or noted at the next full committee meeting. So you can't just have like a little subcommittee basically having all the meetings and never have a committee meeting. It's a delegated authority to make those small decisions, or maybe big decisions like, oh, we've got to cancel an event, or oh, this happened, we've got to do this now, we've got this dispensation. This is a practical and sensible governance approach, and especially for those urgent decisions between those meetings. And recommendation though, formalise this at your AGM, document your delegated authority and record the subcommittee's decision at your committee meetings. Any questions on executive subcommittees?
We've got lots of questions in the comments.
About executive subcommittees?
Not all about them. If the grandparent is the active member of the club, how does this work? We want to encourage active members.
So if the grandparent is written down as that child's guardian and the parent is not a member, that active grandparent would be considered the guardian. But if the parent is the member, the parent is the one who is voting. The active grandparent can be nominated by the parent and other parents or life members to go onto the committee. And once on the committee, that active grandparent is there and makes every single decision they want to.
Next question is, when does the head coach position change?
At the AGM.
Okay, and I missed this one before. So each role within the committee are vacant and re-elected each AGM by one of those groups. 18 to 25, parent guardian, or less than 18 and life members.
Was that a question or?
That was a question.
So that's correct. That is absolutely correct.
When does the term of current committee end? Assuming at the end of the AGM, so all current committee get a vote at AGM, no matter what their membership type?
No, that you don't at the AGM. It's not the committee don't vote at the AGM based on I'm on the committee. At an AGM or SGM, the voting rights of the AGM or SGM come into play. So the committee meeting is not a general meeting. So that is why it runs under the general meeting rules. So annual general meeting, special general meeting, committee meetings, which in the past we probably said were a general meeting, but they weren't. They're committee meetings run under a different voting structure.
Okay.
Okay.
How about a parent with how about a child with a solo parent where the grandparent acts as a guardian of rallies? Both parent and grandparent are paid up members of the club.
So the parent is the member of the child, so the parent gets the vote. And at any time, anyone can have a different guardian at rallies, and you don't actually have to be a member to be a guardian at rallies. So I can come along as Auntie Lizzie, and come along and take my grandchild, my niece or nephew to a rally. I'm there with them. I don't actually have to be a member to take them to that pony club rally. That's not anywhere in the membership regulations or general regulations, and definitely not part of the Constitution. But if my niece or nephew has got their own parent, that is where the vote sits at the general meetings, the AGM and SGM.
Okay. And is the information on the NSPCA website still as per the old constitution? Is it still saying we can nominate at an AGM? Sorry, I don't know how to do a screenshot in the comment box. So I'm going to go and have a look at that.
I'm unsure where that is, sorry. So Lorraine will go and have a look for you and come back to me. Okay, so club votes versus regional votes. Our constitution says each club is entitled to one vote for every youth member. So that's at the regional level. Does this mean every youth member gets a vote at the AGM? I always thought only delegates vote. So at your regional AGM, the club votes, so not the individuals. So I'm the delegate at my regional AGM. I get to vote on behalf of all of my members, but if I've got 20 writing members, I get a proportionate, so I get 2 votes in any voting structure. So it recognises the small clubs and the bigger clubs. So if I've got 70 writing members, I'd get 7 votes versus the other person's 2 votes. But that is the club votes, the delegate for the club votes. At the regional, so I think that was what the question meant. Each club sends a delegate, one person. You can have 2 delegates, but 1 person votes, just like you do at our AGM. The club's voting weight, 1 vote per youth member enrolled in the club, but it's proportionate, so 20 equals 2. The delegate exercises all the club's votes on behalf, same as at our AGM, and delegates can be anyone the club authorises, including the club president. So you get to send those along. So short answer, at club AGMs, individual votes. At the regional AGMs, it's the club delegate who exercises the club votes on behalf of all its youth members. And just going back to the website, as we said, we're really busy in behind the scenes updating, first of all, the general regulations, then the membership regulations, then the event regulations, and then the code of conduct and the website. So, please be patient with us, or if something's really out of date, like Geraldine today told me something was out of date, and immediately I went in and I changed it. Yes, Lorraine.
I've just got a message in here. Can everyone mute, please? That's not already.
It's probably
Just
my house. Sorry. Is it a TV?
Yes.
What? Oh. I'll just ask the husband to leave the house.
Oh, no.
Can you mute, please? People can hear the TV. Sorry. perks of not having my own office anymore and meeting at night. Okay, so hopefully that's better. Any other questions there?
Is this info going to be sent out to clubs' emails for distribution, please?
Yes, I said that at the beginning. It will be on the website and it will go in tomorrow's Connect magazine. The link to this will be, and you can send this all out. Of course, I've got a couple of little errors in there to check, to fix, sorry. But it will also be on the website under the communication hub where it says webinars. Okay, shall I keep going or are these more?
At a monthly meeting, can all members attend or just the committee?
Okay, that's coming up right now.
Excellent.
So other AGM appointments, are they still required? So the previous constitution set out the other appointments at the AGM, e.g. the bank signatories, the account reviewer, the area rep, the head coach. Should we still cover these or at the AGM, or can the club decide? So basically you get to decide. So at the AGM, constitutionally required, you must elect your committee. So you must elect those committee roles. So that's the president, the secretary, treasurer, and either those general committee people or any roles that you wanted to be on the committee. You need to approve all major transactions, the fees that you're going to have, the club operating policies, and potentially any national remits that you want to put in should be done there. And that's required if any motions have been submitted. Your financial statements need to be reviewed here at the AGM, and any conflicts of interest need to be disclosed as part of the AGM if they've got any conflicts of interest with AGM business. You can do everything in yellow at the AGM as well, but you don't have to constitutionally, but you can if you wish to. So you could do it at the committee meeting, or you can do it at the AGM instead. At the committee meeting instead. Though those bank signatories. So the practical decisions, maybe that's best at the first committee meeting. Your account reviewer and auditor, this can be a committee appointment. It doesn't have to be required constitutionally at the AGM. Your regional delegate, it says area rep, need to change that word, is also can be appointed, can be a committee appointment or it can be an AGM. It's the club's choice. Your head coach, if your head coach is not an elected committee position, can also be elected at a committee meeting. It can change as long as it's not one of your constitution elected committee meetings. And your contact person, so that contact person must be confirmed at the first committee meeting after the AGM.
We've got a couple more questions. If a vote is needed for head coach, is it better to be done at the AGM?
If it's a committee meeting, if it's a committee position, it must be done at the AGM. So if it's been, we're naming this person on our committee so they can come to committee meetings, and they're only on one committee, as in they only belong to our club, then yes, you'd need to have a vote at that AGM. If they were just not on the committee and they weren't coming to committee meetings, then you would decide in your committee meeting.
And where is the proportional voting part? Jill just mentioned 5.15 voting. Each club is entitled to one vote for every youth member at their club.
It's in the National Constitution. I can't tell you off the top of my head what part of the National Constitution, but if Emma's here, she's probably got it printed out and she'll be able to jump in and tell us. She's been studying it, so it's in there. In the past, you'll remember that at our conference, it was 3 votes over 50, 2 votes 20 to 50, and 1 vote under 20. And it was asked at our AGMs to consider proportionate voting based on the clubs that had larger numbers to have a proportion, but to make sure it didn't become exaggerated, it's 1 to every 10.
And we have another head coach question. If the head coach is paid, it's just ran off, Can they attend committee meetings but not vote? This really helps with planning, etc.
Okay, so I'm going to get to committee meetings in a minute. So hopefully that will answer that question there. So we'll just hold that one.
And probably need to hold this one too. Do coaches that are paid still need to be coach members of the club for insurance purposes?
Yes. Oh, but that's what
Oh.
it says on the insurance.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just jump here. Late nominations and multiple riders. So late nominations after the deadline. So if some positions have no nominations by the advertised date, is it still okay to receive them after the cutoff or on the form? So no, late nominations cannot be accepted. Nominations must be received as per section 5.4. That was back there in the deadline. Members must be informed of who is nominated before the AGM, and calling nominations from the floor at an AGM is no longer an option under the Incorporated Society Acts. If there is a late nomination received for vacant positions after the cutoff date, they must go to an SGM at a later date. So I've got no one. I can't call off the floor because it's not the nomination process. I need to then go and call for expressions of interest, or at our committee meeting, get someone to cover it as a casual position until then, as per. Oh, in the National Constitution, it's 5.13. Thanks, Emma. I know she's got them all printed out. That's where it says about the proportionate voting. Parents and guardians with more than one rider under 18. If a parent or guardian has more than one rider under 18-year-old, do they still only get one vote in the AGM? Yes. You only get one vote only, regardless of how many riders you have enrolled. The vote belongs to the parent guardian member, not to each rider. Membership category equals one parent rider equals one vote. But if both parents are member and there's more than one rider, that is one vote each. But not for grandparents. Has to be parents. Having two or more riders does not create additional votes.
So if two children in one family and there's two adults, they can have two votes. But if
One
there's only
vote, no,
one adult,
one vote each. One vote each.
well, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so common questions about committees. I think this is the one where we go into talking about committee meetings and what committee meetings look like. So this is all under the Incorporated Societies Act. So do we need or can we have an executive committee? I've answered that. So yes, you can appoint your own executive subcommittee. The full committee delegates authority to it, but they ratified the decisions at the next meeting. This is not required, but can be a sensible approach if clubs need to quickly do things between meetings. But remember, it's only a delegated authority and it needs to be ratified at the next meeting. But it's always good to formalise it at an AGM or committee meeting and document that delegated authority. If we need to make a decision between meetings, do we call an extra committee meeting? Not necessary. You've got your executive committee, or you can have a resolution in writing, signed or consented by email or other electronic means. So what we do at the NZP at Head National Office, if we're doing a funding resolution, we need a funding resolution, the board don't call a special meeting, but they do a flying minute resolution. So that means that urgent decisions can be made without convening a formal meeting, providing the required majority consent is obtained and documented. So in the real world, it might be those funding applications, it might be a dispensation, it might be a team selection, anything like that. Club committee meetings for all members to attend or just committee. Under the Incorporated Society Act, committee meetings are for committee only. General members do not have an automatic right to attend committee meetings. So I guess you can, if a committee wishes to invite others to observe, so this is answering those questions there about the head coach is not on the committee, but we'd like them to come along and observe. If a committee wishes to invite others to observe or contribute, it may do at its discretion, but this should be managed carefully, particularly for any sensitive or confidential matters. So in practice, committee meetings are for just committee only. General members participate through that general meeting, AGM or SGM. So they can have conversations, they just don't get to vote.
Okay. We have another couple of questions.
Oh, can I just do this bottom one? Because I found this one really interesting. Do committee meetings need to be NZPCA members? This is huge compared to our old constitution. At regional level, yes. But as part of the Incorporated Societies Act of 2022, point 4.3, it states that a committee is the majority of officers on the society must be members of the society. So basically at a club level, you could have a committee that has got one or two or three, depending, as long as it's not more than 50%, that are not members. And that is part of the Incorporated Societies Act. And we can't change that. So if you've got a committee of 6, 3 must be current members. But if you've got someone over here who you particularly want, remember they must be nominated and seconded and voted by your members that can vote. You could have a non-member on a committee. Lorraine, over to your questions.
If you don't have nominations for at least 5 committee, do you have to call again and postpone the AGM?
Oh, you will. You're not constitutionally. You need 5. You need 5. So you'd have to say we can't operate. 5 is the minimum standard. So yes.
Call another meeting.
Yeah, 5's the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
If you call a special general meeting, say we need 5 people.
And as I understand it, the Act itself does not prescribe who can attend committee meetings. It leaves that to the Society's constitution.
So then committee meetings are for the committee members only. So that we must pop that in the constitution then. Okay, common question, AGM errors. If your AGM has procedural errors, the approach depends on the nature of the error and whether the outcome would be different. In most cases, issue can be resolved without redoing the AGM entirely. So if you've got AGM errors, I would suggest in any conversation, if you think something's gone wrong, to go and talk to the people in your club. That is the quickest way to resolve it, and really think would have made any difference to our committee. So wrong people voted. So if ineligible members voted, any resolution passed is challengeable. So if I voted and I wasn't able to vote, that resolution then is challengeable. So it could be challenged. The first step is to assess whether the outcome would have been any different had only eligible members voted. If the outcome would have been the same, document that assessment and the reasoning carefully. If the outcome may have differed, consider calling an SGM to ratify or rerun the affected resolutions. No call for nominations. If the committee positions were filled without calling for nominations as required, these appointments are not to be valid. Great mistake there. The committee should call for nominations properly and hold an election either at an SGM or the next AGM. In the meantime, the people in those roles may continue to act as gatekeepers while the process is being corrected. The committee is not structured as required by the new constitution. The committee has the power to appoint people to fill the casual vacancies without calling a general meeting. But if you're sitting there and no one even wants to come onto the committee as 2 people, that's a little bit of a concern. But if you've got 5 but you wanted 8, you can carry on with 5 and then call those casual vacancies. But 5 is that minimum. If the structure is not yet right, the committee can resolve this at an ordinary committee meeting, appoint the right people to those roles, and document the decision in the minutes. It does not need to wait for the next AGM. Any questions on that, Lorraine?
We have several questions. If parents are not on the committee, how do we encourage new parents to get involved?
I'm going to open that to the floor. Anyone want to pop their hand up and say how they've encouraged new committee members? Someone out here must be encouraging new committee members.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Thank you.
So we have quite a lot of parents with young riders, so lead rein or just coming off the lead. And also with young children, so lots of logistics and tricky things and not wanting to commit because you're still getting kids to bed at 7 and all of that stuff. So we have tried to give really specific requests for help. So can you come to this setup and almost like run it as a rally for events and things like that? And then hopefully people get more confident, find out how things work. And also look for jobs that are finite, like don't require committing to the committee for an entire year, but like, can you help with this event? So we had some parents help with camp, but they're not on the committee and they only had to help with camp and that's all they had to do.
Thank you. And thanks for sharing. Anyone else for suggestions? I don't know if it's kosher, but I'd say wine and cheese. I think that maybe is a really good point that we could put at AGM as one of our workshops, is encouraging new committee members and people, just encouraging new volunteers. So thank you for that question.
Yeah, no, at our club, we have a succession process. Sorry, Alex, you got your hand up, Alex?
So are we not able to invite people along to our committee meetings?
You can. It said that committee meetings are for committee members only. If a committee wishes to invite others to observe or contribute, it may do so at its discretion.
Thank you, because we do like to invite people to our committee meetings, especially that would be one way to, I guess, help bring people into the committee, is to show them how we run and that we're a really good group of people.
Lovely, yeah. That you're not all scary.
No.
Potentially a dumb question, Lizzie. What's the time frame for our regional AGMs?
There is actually in the Constitution no time frames of you must do it by said date or said date, and there is also no absolute time frame for your club SGMs or AGMs that you must do it prior to this or this or this or this. That part of the Constitution has gone.
No,
Nope,
it must
thank
be
you,
done
Ashley.
within 6 months of your financial year. Has to be done within 6 months of your financial year.
Yeah, no, but there's no longer that you must have your clubs do it before your regions and your region before, but 6 months within your financial year. Thanks, Emma.
Thanks, Emma.
Emma looks like
Okay.
she's in the desert. Okay, so we've got Anne Williams thinks it's quite cool that non-members are allowed to be on the committee, because they joke that at their club, their volunteer grandparents and parents of over 18s have to pay a membership fee just to be a volunteer on the committee, and now they won't have to.
Yeah, just remember that it's only 50%. And please, everyone, please update your nominate. Update your nominate. Get someone, if you're not sure how to update your committees on nominate, send it to your regions and ask them to. Send it to me. I've got nothing but, love playing and nominate. Hopefully most of you, there's only 3 clubs that I haven't been able to do myself, but nominate is helping us, have all merged over, apart from those, the Hamilton club, sorry, you're not yet all merged over, and neither one group in the South Island. But everyone else, if you go and have a look, your names have slightly changed. So update your committees, please, 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 please. Okay.
If your committee member's not a NZPCA member and not on nominate, how do you add them to your committee?
No, so they can't do it there, but they can update the rest of their committee. You can't. Oh, they could do a technical. Yep, they could do a technical. They could put themselves as a technical member. So we'll go and put it in as a non-member committee. I'll go and change it. Good thinking there, Emma. Okay, the DC and head coach role. This has also been a question. So under the new constitution, the DC role is optional, not a constitutional role. So a club has different options of how to handle this. This is, you might even have more than this. Is just, so the DC function sits with the president. So the president absorbs the DC function as part of the governance role. No separate DC is appointed. This is the minimum structure and works well for smaller clubs or where the president has that experience. The president and head coach together sign off on certificates, dispensation, and teams. You could also have the DC as a elected committee position, which is elected at the AGM. So the club elects the DC as one of the additional committee positions at the AGMs. This is the same as the previous structure and works well if there is capable and willing people who are a member of the club. As a committee member, the DC must be an NZ. That's a little bit wrong now because this was after I found that out today. So the DC actually could be a non-NZPCA member if it's one of those 50% and is elected in the usual way, as in being nominated and second. The DC or head coach is appointed as an operational role outside of the committee. So the committee could appoint a DC or a head coach as just an operational position. This person is not on the committee, is not elected, and does not need to be an NZPCA member. This means one person can hold the DC or head coach role across multiple clubs, which directly addresses the challenges many smaller clubs face in finding and retaining a head coach. So they're the different options in that structure there.
I've got lots of questions if you'd like them.
Oh, absolutely. That's what we're here for.
Can you be a member if you're not one of those groups, 18 to 25, parent or life?
Absolutely. So the membership categories are still your youth members, 18 to 25, your, jump in and help me, Lorraine, your 18, so you're under 18 to 25s. You've got your adult members, so your members like myself. If I was a pony club member, the horse master's the adult member. Remember, you can invite people to come along to competitions. If they're coming to competitions, they do need, and they're not a member, they need to fill out a casual membership form. So coaches are often in your adult members. I know that Emma here is probably just an adult member of her, not just an adult member of her club. So if your child has, your child's jumped over 18, you're just now you're an adult member now. So yep, we absolutely want people to still be members and still get the benefits of our membership.
Now, if we've not done our nominations in time for our AGM, which needs to be before the regional AGM? What do we need to cover in our AGM for the regional AGM? Can we do those items as an SGM and do our AGM at a later date to elect the officers? Oh, that's a little. So if we've not done our nominations in time for our AGM, which needs to be before the regional AGM, what do we need to cover in our AGM for the regional AGM?
Your club AGM no longer states that it has to be before the regional AGM. So that's no longer part of the constitution. It's probably good practice, but it's not stated that it must go in that way. If you haven't called for your nominations correctly and you know you haven't yet set the date, I would defer my AGM. I would say we've got to stop and do it this way.
And any remits or motions passed at an AGM, who votes on these? The new committee or everyone there who has been allowed to vote?
So at an
AGM,
the people that are allowed to vote are the parents, guardians of the under 18s, the riders 18 to 25, and the life members. So at anything at the general meeting, AGM or SGM, it goes back to those categories that are allowed to vote. So if I'm on the committee and I'm not in one of those categories, I cannot vote at the SGM or AGM, but I can have my opinion and I can share my opinion. I can't vote on it.
And Kate Keynes, I think we brought this up before. They encourage new committee members and people members by starting with running the camp and running the kitchen.
So just
Thanks for
introduce
that.
them slowly. Nice. That's a nice way.
And Anne Williams, just noting that if a committee member isn't a member, and put themselves as a technical member to have them on a committee and nominate.
I'm going to get them nominate to change the category. So let me just get nominate to make a new category that will be called non-member committee. And you'll be able to tick them off as a non-member committee member or something like that. I will work with nominate because the technical member category is no longer constitutional, so that will be disappearing. So.
And Lisa White's made a comment. I think it'll be important for club committees to invite members to their meetings and encourage new members to join.
You're most welcome to do that, as we said before, but I do get a lot of people coming to me and say, oh, our committee members are just for committee, and that is constitutionally. You can invite people, you can do that yourself, but if questioned constitutionally, if someone came to me and said, constitutionally, they won't let me come to a committee meeting, the constitutional rule is that committee meetings are for committee. So if you open it up to one person, you have to consider who else you're opening it up to.
And I think you just answered this question. We are the same. Do the club AGMs need to be before the regional AGM?
There's no time frame as per the Constitution. There could be good practice that you might decide to do that, and maybe it's that discussion within your clubs and your regions and go, hey, we'd really like you to do this as good practice, but constitutionally if a club came along and said, oh, we're not doing this, there's nothing to hold them and say, oh, you must do this, you must do this, but good practice.
And how should we make this decision, DC, president, the three different options prior to the AGM in order to obtain nominations for these roles?
I guess it depends on how big your club is. Like if you're a club that is struggling to get people, and because in the past you had the DC and the president was optional, so especially at the club level, you might have gone, okay, we're not going to get enough people here, we're just going to choose these roles. So those are the discussions that you have prior to calling for nominations, that you sit there as a collective committee, which of course has got all of these other people, and go, what works for us? You know, have a lot of, you need to have that planning, that succession planning, and that going, what works for us? Can we get someone? Can we not get someone? I can't tell you, because you know, you could be the minimum committee that can only get 5 people. So if you can only get 5 people, you'd be looking, going, okay, we must have a president, we must have a secretary, we must have a treasurer, we must have 2 other people. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to have a head coach and a health and safety, and the DC is going to take, the president is going to take on those DC operational sign-offs.
Now, this has already been discussed, and I think we've got the answer, but I thought coaches had to be members of NZPCA for insurance purposes. Now it is not required. So would coaches need to have their own insurances?
So anything at a rally or an event is covered by insurance, and any person is covered by insurance. Emma, I'll get you to jump in here from technical events as well, because you've probably got a little bit more for me than that, but to be able to sign off on the record of training cards and to access coaches conferences at a cheaper rate, to access ECTP, you need to be a member. Anything to add to that, Emma?
No, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Now, Emma said the only requirement now is within 6 months of the end of the financial year. So it doesn't have to be before the regional AGM. So it's just a point there, following up from a previous comment. Oh, I am confused, head coach. And I've just lost it. One moment, caller.
It says we have 3 nominations for this position. Members voted on at the AGM. Is this not the correct way to do it?
So you get to decide if your head coach is a committee position. So if your head coach is not being paid and is sitting on the committee making decisions, then that you take nominations for it. If you've decided that your head coach is being paid, therefore they can't be on the committee, you wouldn't need to nominate. You could decide that in a committee meeting after the fact. Depends if you're going to have that person as a committee member.
Sorry, just going back to the decision, read the president and DC options. Does that decision need to be voted on, i.e. SGM held, or can it be a decision within the current exec committee at a committee meeting?
It wouldn't be at a committee, it wouldn't be your exec, it would be at the committee meeting way back here when you were deciding what your timeline looks like. You would decide what your committee structure was going to be. So way back here at a committee meeting 6+ weeks before the AGM, when you're starting to think about your committee and go, hey, what does our committee look like? Where are we sitting? What do we want to do with our committee? Do we want to go with the minimum required with the only 5 and this is us. This is what we can do. We're going to have a president, secretary, treasurer, minimum of 2 others. Actually, we're going to have 3 others, and we're going to make them the head coach, the grazing manager, and the health and safety. So we've made that decision. So we're going to then, because of that, we're going to say that actually it's the president/DC, or minimum standard required, president, secretary, treasurer, DC, head coach, grazing manager, or health and safety. You get to decide that. But if you're like a club and you've loved what you've been doing and you liked your old structure, you can keep it. So your actual committee is going to actually, you have to have a chairperson / you have to have a president. That's constitutional. So you're going to go president, DC, secretary, treasurer, chief coach, and all these other committee meetings. You guys need to have that discussion at a committee way back here 6+ weeks before the AGM and go, what do we want for us this year? You've got the flexibility. We're not going to tell you what you need, because every group's different. We've got groups that are 10, and then we've got groups that are 100. So what works for you?
If we have to defer our AGM because we haven't followed the correct process, it will be after the regional AGM, who goes as delegates to the regional AGM?
I'm sure you, at your committee meeting, you could discuss this now and go, your executive could sit there and go, oh, at your next committee meeting, we have to defer our AGM because we haven't followed process. In a committee meeting, we're going to decide for this committee, for this AGM, it's going to be these 2 people are going to go and be the delegates. And as we said back here, make sure everything is noted and minuted.
Okay. So as a head coach at several clubs, e.g. head coach of several types of membership, what do you need to have for insurance? So
as long as you are at the rally, and you're a head coach, you are covered at that rally. On our insurance page on the website, it covers what is covered and what's not. If you're a coach, and even if you're a Pony Club member and you go off and do private lessons or you go and do training sessions, if they're not an NZPCA sanctioned or your Pony Club sanctioned, you're not covered by insurance. So if you're running your own training sessions or your own like one-on-one, you should have your own public liability insurance. That's what we recommend. So you are covered even as a non-member at a rally, but it means that we can't pop you on nominate and sign you off. You can't be nominated for Coach of the Year. You have to pay a more expensive rate if you're coming to a coaches conference or conferences. You're still eligible for our free webinars. I'll plug that there because they are open to everyone, but there are things that you do get discounts on for being a member of Pony Club.
Before we call for nominations, how does our club set the number of how many committee members we'd like to have for the coming year, e.g. 5 or 7, etc.?
So way back here, you need to decide how many, number one, how many people have you got? What works for you? You know, each club's different. Okay, let's go around. Who's prepared to tell me how many they've got on the committee? What have you got on your committee, Lorraine? How many people in total?
10.
So you've got 10. What's someone else got? 10. Excellent.
Yep.
We've
so
got
we have to
8.
have a quorum of
5. There's a 5. There's a 10. Okay. Yeah.
And there's an 8.
Okay. So
8.
you just proportionate. Go, how many do we need? Like, hey, I'm 7. I'm very much the fact, if you want to be in a committee, come on in. Let's not have any volunteers. But then I have to have a committee of 20. What happens if I've got a committee of 20? I've now got a quorum of 10 that have to be at every meeting. You know, so it is a way of think about succession planning, but also I could succession plan by not being on the committee, and I could be invited along, or I could, you know, because you are allowed to invite, but if it came back to those constitutional roles, they won't let me go to a committee meeting, and I do get that. I do get people come to me and go, oh, they wouldn't let me go to the committee meeting. Well, constitutionally, they don't have to. So, you know, so you have to think about what works for you guys. Yeah, choice.
Yeah. What membership type would our coaches fall into?
Adult. If they're going to be a member, they're an adult member. So there's only going to be, once we've got nominate to do those little bits behind for us, along with those couple of club mergers that we've still got to do, there will be the youth members under 18 to 25, the adult member, which is adult member is the horse masters, anything adult is an adult member. Even if you've got a kid, adult member. You get to do the subcategories and go parent, or we might be doing that, I'm not sure. I have to go and have a look at that again. And then we'll just put in that new one, the non-member committee member. Oh, we've got life members as well. We've got our NZPCA life members, Geraldine, who's here with us tonight, and Nikki, who's with us tonight as well. Hope there might be others here. Sorry if I haven't seen you.
Okay, what benefit or reason for having non-members on the committee?
I didn't write the Incorporated Societies Act, so maybe the benefit is that you can tap someone on the shoulder who's got amazing legal skills, or who is an expert in council relations or the funding whiz of the world, but they don't want to be a member of Pony Club. So a bit like our board doesn't have to be members. They can be if they want to be, but maybe they're not, so we can tap them on the shoulder and go, hey, you've got really good skills at public relations. So I guess that's part of the Incorporated Society Act. Emma, you've worked a lot in the Incorporated Society Act with your other roles. Is that your understanding as well, or anyone else here?
Yeah, it's just about somebody might once have specialised skills that will complement and maybe just needed from time to time. So yeah, sometimes that's the way it goes. It was one of the ones that when I was board chair, and we had a Sport NZ Hui, originally they wanted everyone to be members, and then there was a bit of a pushback, especially from the bigger sports, that they actually like it when they have their people with extra skill sets that aren't necessarily members coming on and giving another opinion. So yeah.
You don't have to do it. You just can if you want to. Geraldine. Yeah. Oh, you're still muted. You're still muted.
Rachel Lane's got a question too.
Yeah, I don't know why. And Geraldine, do you want to type your question in? I'm not sure.
Do you want me to just ask mine?
Just turn your mic on.
Go, Rachel, and then we'll come back.
My question's just at an AGM, who runs the first part before the president is appointed or voted on?
So the current president.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and that person stays in that role to the end of the AGM. So if I started chairing it because I'm the president at the start, I continue all the way through and hand over at after the close of that AGM.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, are there any more questions there?
I've got lots in the chat, but
Okay. Yep, let's get those.
This may have been answered, but I'm a current committee member and my rider is 20 years old. I understand I cannot vote unless appointed on committee member. Sorry, unless it's a committee member again at the AGM. Oh gosh, I didn't.
So
But
that is,
I can.
I think
Sorry?
what you're trying to say is if you're on the committee, in all of those committee meetings, you get to have a say. In all of those in between meetings, as a committee member, you get to have a say and a vote. At the AGM, you do not get to nominate, second, or vote. That is correct. But you get to be nominated and seconded and voted on. Your 20-year-old gets that say.
Okay, just going back to that decision, read the president and DC options. Does that decision need to be voted on, i.e. SGM held, or can that be a discussion within the current exec committee at
Not
a committee
exec.
meeting?
Just at a normal committee meeting and not exec. Remember, like your committee, your exec is the delegated authority in those in-between meetings. So if you are deciding at your committee meeting, and there's 10 of you at the committee meeting, you're deciding what the structure is for the next year. So just at the committee meeting is where you decide.
Okay, our head coach is paid $50 at a rally, but not on the committee, but we still voted at the AGM. Is it still valid for the coming season? We've already had our AGM.
So if they're paid and they're not on the committee, that is fine. That we just carry on with it because they're not on the committee. So if as long as they're being paid, they're not on the committee. But you decided it at your SGM, at your AGM, so they carry on with that. That's not a problem.
Life members, who can these be? Are there specific requirements for these positions?
So on the website, under the membership hub, there's a tab called awards. Scroll down to halfway to the bottom and it says club, or might even say, no, it says club and areas. So the areas need to change to regions. They're just those little things that we're doing when we see them. And it talks about who can be a life member and how to have a life member of your club or region. So basically it's based on service. Basically the committee can decide and then ratify it at an AGM.
It's Reg 4.4 in your club constitution.
So, but we'll put a link in the minutes to all of those awards. And a great time to plug awards. It's those times again for awards, your volunteer awards, your youth awards, your coach awards, your life members of NZPCA, the volunteers. We want to celebrate people. We want to have just an evening of awards at our dinner at our AGM and conference where, hey, we'll be doing, you guys tell us what you want at that conference, as in workshops, and we will set them up for you because it's all about what you guys need, grassroots all the way.
And I'm only just catching up. Sorry?
I found my mic. And I did
Excellent.
type it. I did type it. My question, which is going back because you've moved on, was can a committee bring people with needed skills for a short time, second them onto a committee to do a role for a short period of time only, and then hop off? So have like a subcommittee.
I would assume that they could do that, and it would be decided. You could either put that authority in as an AGM motion and
Right.
say that we will be able to select people onto a subcommittee, or at your committee meeting decide that we're actually going to go outside of this committee and we're going to go and get X, Y, or Z to help us out with this project. It would be no difference. It's about management. I'm sure it would be
But there would
fine.
be, I
Yeah.
think there is a time needed when clubs are running events, big events.
Yeah, so
you know.
that would fall under regulations and bylaws. So constitutionally, you can do it already. You can go and set up a subcommittee to run an event. So I wouldn't see any difference at all, Geraldine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just document everything. Document. And executives don't just, if the executives have a discussion, it comes to the next meeting and is a resolution.
Yep.
And recorded.
And Geraldine, you're ahead of me. I haven't even got to your message yet.
That's
So
all right.
you're doing well.
We've just done it. Yeah, so it's cool.
Yeah. I've just caught up. Papatoetoe has 10 committee members. Josie's committee has 7. Denise's has 10. So thank you very much for your input. I've only just noticed it. When you say a life member can vote, are you meaning a life member of the club, not a life member of NZPCA?
So if they're a life member of NZPCA, they're a life member of your club. It filters down. So Geraldine here is a life member of NZPCA. That means she's a life member of her region. That means she's a life member of her club. It's an honour that goes down. It scales, it escalates, filters down like a waterfall, because she's recognised as that value. So the club doesn't pay for it. NZPCA awarded it, so NZPCA pays, but she is a life member of her club as well. If you're a life member of your club, that is where your club awards it and they pay for it. If your region made you a life member, they pay for it, but it then once again filters down, because of course delegates there had to also agree to it at that regional level. So
Okay.
Geraldine would get to vote at her club AGM.
Yay. How can I create a horse master and parent category and nominate so that our horse masters that are parents as well can vote at the AGM?
They can't vote at the age. If they're a parent of an under 18-year-old, they get to vote. But if they are just they are a horse master and don't have an under 18 associated with them, they do not get to vote at the AGM.
Just checking. If we have the same number of nominations as committee members needed, do we still have to vote on them all?
No, that's what we said at the beginning. Yeah, because like you only have to vote if there is an excess.
I like Maureen's. I may have missed this earlier, but I'm waiting for the but. It's coming.
You can just talk. Why don't you talk? Tell us. This is typing.
Okay, I've come in late, obviously. I've been at another meeting. Our region has a regional committee, which there is a delegate from each pony club in that region on it. But because a delegate may not be able to attend all regional meetings, there is usually the delegates put forward maybe 2 names, 3 names, but only one of them can vote at each meeting. Is that still correct?
It's 2. So in the Constitution, it's 2 named delegates and 1 votes at a meeting. Yeah.
Right, thank you. That clears that.
And they become the committee. The delegates are therefore the committee. So if I put my name up and say I'm a delegate, it means I'm on that committee, and only one of us has. Well, I'm me or my B. I'm A. They're B. Is that we're that committee? So one of us has to go or be an apology.
Are you sure, Lizzie?
Yep.
I've just read that today, and I thought it said 1 delegate per club.
No, it says 2. Sure.
Okay.
One can vote. One can vote.
So at a club, at a regional meeting, can others come in that are not delegates to that meeting? Or
You
is
can
it
invite
only the delegates.
You can invite them in, but they could say that you could say it's closed and only for the committee because the delegates are the committee. But like before with the committee meetings, you can vote them in. You can invite them in, sorry.
So they've got to be invited in to be able to attend.
Yes, You could say
Thank
it's an
you.
open meeting. You guys get to say, but if it came down to it and someone came to me and said, what are the rules? The rules are committee meetings are for committee only, but you can open it up and say anyone can attend.
Thank you.
No worries.
I'm just looking at 6.2 that says committee composition. The committee consists of one delegate from each club that is a member. The committee member may be a
Yeah, I'm
delegate.
wrong then. Sorry.
club. Yeah.
Emma's right.
Thank
I'm
you.
wrong.
I've been reading them a lot lately. I'm sorry.
No worries.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I can own that I don't know all of the constitutions word by word.
I do. We at our region, we're a new region, had an inaugural meeting. We minuted at our AGM that these were our named one delegate per club, but we also minuted that those delegates had a right to put an apology in prior to the meeting and put in their replacement delegate for that meeting. And we put that in our AGM minutes so that then each club still had a representative.
Excellent.
So can we still do that now? Or does that
Probably
need to be done at an AGM?
You could probably do it. We said you could do things after the fact as a committee and have that resolution as a committee.
Okay, thank you.
But next year, put it in your AGM.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, you're muted now, Lorraine. And guys, just jump in if you want to talk. It might be easier than typing because sometimes it's really hard.
When the membership numbers are taken to determine proportional votes at a regional meeting. Oh, when are the? Yeah.
So all of the numbers are taken when I take the numbers for the annual report. So the numbers for this year are the numbers that were taken for the annual report in August last year. The numbers for this coming season from the annual report have already been taken, and that's when, but until that point of our annual report in the first of last week of July, you'll be using if you haven't had a meeting, you use last year's figures. So if you don't have the last year's figures, I have them all on file for every club. It was branch, but now it's club. And that's what you would have used if you were going to do proportionate splits of assets and things like that. So that's where your figures are. So it's based on what I took March last year, because I've just taken them now for this year.
So, we've got, is it Alex or someone's got a hand raised? I'm not sure who that is.
It's Alex.
It's Alex. So I just need to clarify the delegates because we're in Hamilton and we've got 3 delegates of our exec, but I thought that meant that we had 3 votes at our area meeting because of the size of our club.
So
is that incorrect?
No. So how it works is your delegate is the person who votes on your behalf. The number of votes is proportionate on the writing members that you have. So in the old constitution, if you were over 50 at the NZPCA AGM, you got 3 votes, but one person cast those 3 votes. So you can't split them and go 1-1-1 if you were doing a yes, no, or abstain. It's if you go no, it equals 3 no's, or if you go yes, it's 3 yeses, but one person casts those 3 votes on behalf of that group.
Right, so the vote will be...
Sorry, Alex?
So the vote, say for the treasurer, would be the same vote, like the same person they would be voting for. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
say if there were 3 nominations for the Waikato area treasurer. How am I?
Yeah. So you'd be voting for one person, but that vote equals 3.
Is 3. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Yep. So it's one person will vote.
Yeah.
We have one delegate, and it's worth 3 counts.
So at our AGM, and it's the same at our AGM when you come in July, you can have 2 delegates, but only one of you will vote. So 2 delegates can can attend and be called the delegates, but only one of them votes in case like one falls over or something like that. But that number of votes is proportionate to, so if you're voting something for yes, and you've got 3 votes for 30 riders, and then Lorraine's got 1 vote for 10 riders, it shows the proportionate number. So it's following the size of your club.
Yes. Thank you. That's
No worries.
clarified that. Thank you.
Is it 1 vote per 10
Oh,
riders?
No,
No.
it's written in the Constitution. Emma just said before it's either 6.1 or 4.6. I can't remember which one it is.
So Lizzie, I'm just reading in the regional constitution, each club is entitled to 1 vote per every youth member at the regional AGM. The 1 for 10 is only for the national voting.
There you go. Emma's.
Yeah.
Yep. So 1 vote for every riding
Yeah,
member. So if you've got 10 riding members, you've got 10 votes. It's pretty similar proportionate. 10 votes, 1 vote, depends what you do. Yeah.
The only thing I was a bit confused about there was you just mentioned the numbers for the national conference are based on your numbers. Are you saying we use them for the regional voting at AGM, or do we just go on the day of the AGM membership?
I would say for good practice you would go with our numbers, but if you all agree that you're going to do it on a certain day and your regional person's going to go and do them, go with it, rock that. But if you come to me, I'll go and get last year's numbers and give you last year's numbers for your region. So you guys have to decide regionally. You can decide whether you're going to go on last year's or on a certain date, and you go and grab them and you do that and you do the administration. But for National AGM, it's based on the day that I take them.
Now, Lisa, I've seen you've had your hand up for a while. Do you want to talk to your question, or do you want me to talk to it?
Yeah, I can just go through that. Just a little bit confused because we've got some horse masters who have children who are members under 18, and they'd like to vote, but they're not on the database as parent members. They're on the database as horse masters members. So I need to fix this up somehow.
So yep, you do need to fix it up. You need to they need to, so on horse masters is on our national site is going. So on our national database we won't have horse masters written down as horse masters anymore. They're just an adult member. So what you can do is, because it paid the same national levy, you can go in there and potentially in the background just change it. Maybe it's best to book a call with one of us to help you through that. Sorry, I'm absolutely blocked out tomorrow, but maybe reach out to Lorraine or Michelle and they could have a look in there, or get your Nominate database to go in the back and have a little look and see if you can just change their membership category to being that, because it does, you know, for now you can say, hey, I know that they're that, and I've been talking to people and they're like, but I've got a kid, and it's like, well, your membership category doesn't show that. So that's up to your database operator to really look at the membership category, and also have a really good look at your kids' ages. And make sure that, you know, that they are actually that age. Because one day I said to a club, oh, it's so cool that you've got 15 over 18 to 25. And they're like, we haven't even got 1. So it's looking at those things really carefully.
Now, we're a small club, so I know who's who, but it's just if we hold our AGM in a month's time, is it going to be a problem?
No, because it's not going to be a problem as long as you all have a conversation about it and go, this person's actually got a child and they're eligible. But what I would do in the background is get your database person to go and to Nominate and make sure the categories, make sure the categories are correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Alex, did you have another question? You had your hand up. I just wasn't sure.
Oh no, did I not take it down? No.
That's all good.
No, and I'm not on mute. No, I don't have another question. I'll mute myself. Thank you.
No worries. Any other questions? Oh.
Yeah, we've got one more here.
Perfect.
Actually, it would be very handy if Nominate calculated the current age from date of birth for riders under 25. That was a comment, more of a question.
Yes, what I do is I download them as a CSV file and then go and ask ChatGPT to calculate the ages as of today.
And the Horn family, I'm presuming that's Stephanie and Jess. They said this has been so helpful. Pity we've already had our AGM.
Laugh out loud.
And it's an LC. I'm not sure who that is. It's got their hand up.
I wish I must apologise. I wish it had been earlier,
Lisa,
but you know,
Linda.
things like moving house and
Hi, sorry. Yep. I think I missed the question. I was just distracted. That if there's only the nominations for the 3 positions, key positions, if there's only one nomination, that you don't have to vote. I missed that.
yeah, you don't have to vote if there's if there's a nomination and they've been nominated and seconded, and they've accepted it, and only then they've got the job.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought, but I just missed it. Thank you.
You've done well. That's all our questions that I know of so far. Anybody else?
We'll give you 5 more minutes for any more questions. Thanks everyone for coming along, and please do reach out to us. This was based on all of those wonderful people who've been sending emails and being really patient of getting email responses. That's what formed this, and then questions. And there are a few little typos in here that I've, I checked it a number of times this morning, but you read it and you go, oh. So I'm sorry about that. I apologise, but it will come out to you all. But if you just give us a little bit of time to get it online. Is there any other? Oh, is there questions from?
No, they're all just saying thank you.
No, there's
Great
2 hands up.
Oh, sorry. I've got a question. Firstly, thank you. It's been really helpful, and it's very late, and you're doing an amazing job. So thank you. For the balance date, having an AGM 6 months after the balance date, is that the date the accounts are completed, or is that the end of the financial year, 31st of March?
So no, so your balance date is whatever you guys popped into your form way back months ago, and then is in your constitution. So that's basically your financial year ends on that date. So your date, from memory, I've got some 1st of December's, 1st of January's, 1st of July's, 31st of March's. They're all varied. So each of you has got all these different balance dates. So it's 6 months from that. Yeah. It would be wonderful. We've had many discussions. There's been many discussions at a governance level, which I'm not in governance. That's that level above me. That's your board, about having the same balance date and then having membership all on the same date, which would be potentially easier, but potentially a nightmare as well. So remember also, you have the choice of anniversary, membership. What's the other one, Lorraine? I've just lost it. Anniversary and nominate.
And annual, isn't it?
Annual. So you have those 2 types of membership that you can opt on to. Okay. Well, if there's no other questions, thanks for everyone for coming along. Please let us know what you want next time in a Living with the Constitution, or Living with the Committee, or admin, or running your rallies, because we want to do these on a regular basis. Especially if there's questions, we can come and do this one again. We can do an extension. As I said, I'm also learning the Constitution. I know that Emma's done a lot of work on Constitution, so she's, that's why I'm going, hey Emma, what was the rule here? So appreciate that, and we are working hard behind the scenes to get all the general regs, the position regs, the membership regs, the certificate regs, the code of conduct all to tie up. But until that time, if you see the word branch, just know that there's no more branches. If you see the word area, just know that it's region, and we are working away on it. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, don't want to keep you any longer. Catch you all later.
Thank you so much, Lizzie. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you, Lorraine, for being here and answering all those questions, and thanks to everyone. Thanks, Emma, for answering those questions. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you all later.
Bye.
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 See you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya. Bye. Stop recording.